You can see over here that the construction has not started. There's a lot of construction that has not started for projects that are sold in 2023 and 2024, which tells me that they still may be selling right now, or they may have sold the amount of units they need. And there's a chance that anyone who bought in it may actually get the deposits back because it will not actually complete. You can see the red ones that are under construction are basically saying, hey, we've already spent the money, we've sold enough. And a lot of them that were sold in, say, 2021, which you can see here, and 2022 have started completion, which are your 2025, 2026 completions, more or less. But your 2023 and 2024 ones, that's kind of up for discussion right now. Hi, my name is Zen. If you enjoy my data-driven and number crunching real estate updates, be sure to like and subscribe. So this Toronto article is really using a pretty strong word where it says the market craters almost overnight because of the amount of canceled units. Now, the question we're going to really be looking at is just how many units are actually being canceled. So right now they're saying at the start of 2024, there's been about, call it 1,900 condo units that have been officially canceled. Now, I do think there will be more, and I'll explain to you a little bit, but it's really not that large. And on top of that, there are some more units that are being converted into rentals. So all in all, a total of 28 projects or 5,700 units are going to be out of the cycle on completion. So some people may think, okay, great, we're going to have an undersupply. Well, I don't think so, because if you look at the data, you can see this is a chart that I've been using many, many times showing just the sheer amount of completions. So this year in 2025 is going to be a monster completion, 40,000 units completed in all of Greater Toronto. And then we're still going to see a pretty high amount of like 32,000 in 2026. So in this article over here where it says 5,700 units, you can see it really just makes up a little chunk over here, just like literally off the top. And then the ones that are being converted to rentals are just right here. It doesn't move the needle. And these are just me putting the units on the 2025 chart. We actually don't know which year these are planning to be for completion because I suspect that a lot of these cancellations are projects that aren't financially feasible that are coming in the later years, not necessarily 2025. And the reason why I don't think these canceled units are going to be any celebration for investors is that if you look at the chart in front of me right now, which is the total amount of new listings volume for leases in all of essentially call it GTA, you can see that we have so much inventory right now. This is in 2024. And to give you an idea of how much inventory we normally have in terms of new listings, going back to 2015, this is where I have the date starting here, you're looking at around, call it 4,000 to 5,000 every single month here or there. And that is normal. So this is what we call the 10-year average. Then you can see we had a monster increase. And this right here is basically post-COVID. And then things kind of settled down a little bit. Things got a little bit crazy. And this is essentially when peak pricing for rentals kind of happen around 22 and 23. And now that we're having a lot of completion happens, you can see that the new listing volume is going up. And we're just at the start of 2025 right now. So you can anticipate that we're going to be seeing more and more units actually come for completion, and we'll have the listing volume increase from there on. So I don't think we're going to have any kind of like rental increases or any kind of shortage of rental units for investors to kind of increase the rent anytime soon because we have a boatload of supply right now. Before you even think about selling, don't let another chatbot price your biggest asset. Your property is not just another number. Hit the link in the description below and I'll send you a personalized assessment with real data and expert insights so you can sell with confidence on your terms. And for anyone who's really concerned about whether these projects are going to finish in 2025, I pulled up some data here from the guys from Condo, and you can see that if you look at the average launch price per foot, which is generally over 70 to 80% of the units that have been sold because they need to sell that many before construction generally can start, they're fine, right? You're in like downtown core, $1,200, you're fine. If you go over here, you're at Young Wellesley at $1,400, maybe a little bit on the high side. I think they're going to close. It's not going to be a problem, right? Because if you look all the way down here, the summary of some of the Toronto-based projects on average are $1,200 a foot. Is that higher than resale right now? Yeah, for sure. Are there some people who don't want to close on it? Yeah, for sure. But is the building going to absolutely collapse and not register because it's like 10 or 15% over the cost of resale? No, I don't think so. We have blanket appraisals to kind of bail out the market right now. And when we look at just Toronto, you can see that we have about 4,100 units that are coming online, which is a lot of units coming online for the amount of absorption that we have right now. And I really don't think that the rental market's going to improve until the economy improves. Now, where the issues and where I do think these cancellations are coming are the years that were sold in 2023 and 2024, where we're probably going to be looking for completions around these 2 years or so. And the reason for that is because you can see over here that the construction has not started. There's a lot of construction that has not started for projects that are sold in 2023 and 2024, which tells me that they still may be selling right now, or they may have sold the amount of units they need. And there's a chance that anyone who bought in it may actually get the deposits back because it will not actually complete. You can see the red ones that are under construction are basically saying, hey, we've already spent the money, we've sold enough. And a lot of them that were sold in, say, 2021, which you can see here, and 2022 have started completion, which are your 2025, 2026 completions, more or less. But your 2023 and 2024 ones, that's kind of up for discussion right now. And you can see in this map over here, I have highlighted projects that are going to occupy in 2026 all the way to 2040, which is basically the rest of the projects. You can really look at here and just kind of see what the average price per foot that they're going to sell for. So the ones that are selling or still selling right now that are in pre-construction and haven't gone into construction, those are the ones I'm really wondering, like, are these going to actually get canceled? You can see there's some units over here, right? And is that going to add to the lack of inventory in those years? I don't know. And that's one of the questions that I've been asking myself a lot. Just how much absorption are we going to have in the next 2 years when the economy is kind of soft right now and the sentiment for buying condos is really, really bad? Because you can see in this article from Global News saying that 30% of Canadians no longer think condos are a good investment anymore. And that 11% said that they would buy a condo, while 57% said they would not buy a condo for any reason. It's because they have lots of money, or maybe we're seeing a lot of fear in it. Now, the only way that the market will get better is if people do end up buying condos, and are just, who are these people buying condos right now? And in the survey, it showed that 42% of non-home owners, so people who do not own homes, are planning to buy their first home and are considering a condo. So these are your end users, first-time home buyers. So my question that I've been really pondering is, do we have enough first-time buyers and end users for the amount of condos that are coming online if investors are not buying them? And that's really making me wonder what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years. And nobody has a crystal ball, but I've been pondering this question over and over again and just looking at the absorption rates. Because when we look at the amount of housing starts that we have in Toronto, we can clearly see that the condos are coming down. So in theory, there should be some kind of lack of supply in the future. But the question right now, like I was saying, is we have so much supply, can we even absorb all of it for the lack of supply to make a difference? And then you also have your rentals that are being created over here, which generally tend to be high-rise apartment buildings. So this cluster of starts and this cluster of starts I highlight here generally will go on the rental market anyways, because they're both investors. Condos tend to be your mom and pop. Your rental side tends to be institutional guys, kind of like pension funds and whatnot. And I've been talking about this a lot, but like your single family starts are just like negligible. It's gonna be very hard to own a 3-bedroom, like entry-level home anytime soon, let alone a detached. Hey, it's me interrupting myself. Ready to make a move? Just one free call, no hassle, but decades of experience to work for you. So if you understand all this data and charts I provided to you, here's kind of like my base case. We'll continue seeing cancellations for sure, but I just don't think these cancellations are going to move the needle for the amount of inventory we're going to be getting in the next 2 or 3 years. And could we start seeing more cancellations for 2027 and 2028 projects? Absolutely. But will the resale market, meaning existing condos right now that we have a glut of supply of right now, is that going to be absorbed between 2025 and 2026 when the sentiment is so bad? That's the question I'm asking a lot. And on the rental side, because we still have a lot of completions coming and a lot of people aren't moving out on their own because you have a lot of these 1-bedrooms and bachelors coming for completion this year and next year, I think the rental market will continue to struggle for the next 2 or 3 years. And if you understand all this data, this is why in the last video, I talked about that shrinking gap. If you're planning to move from a condo to a freehold, you should do it sooner than later because that gap is the smallest it's been in some time. I don't think the condo is going to perform very well for the next 2 or 3 years. And I think the detached may be a little bit above the 10-year average, which means minor price appreciation, which ultimately means that gap is going to get bigger and bigger. So if you want a full deep analysis of what's happening in that segment, if you're going from a condo to freehold, check out that video over here. And until next time, your move, your future. See ya.